Welcome to the Tech Bite. Today I provide a news about Nvidia GeForce RTX 2060, RTX 2080 Ti, and RTX 2070 mobility GPUs leaks. So let's get started. In a previous video, we reported that the Nvidia RTX mobility lineup would be unveiled around CES 2019, which makes sense as the event is primarily a consumer expo and major OEMs would be able to showcase their new laptop and notebook designs at the event. Now coming back to the mobility lineup, we are looking at the following RTX mobility designs with Turing GPU architecture, starting with the latest entrant to the leaks. The GeForce RTX 2060 has shown up in the Future Mark III database. The GeForce RTX 2060 is mentioned to be a mobility part with a Turing GPU. It is presumed that the GeForce RTX 2060 desktop part will be using a cut-down TU106 GPU core, so it is likely the mobility variant would be based on the same chip. The graphics card ships with a clock speed of 960 MHz, which could be the base clock, and the memory is 6 GB of GDDR6 VRAM that runs across a 192-bit bus interface and is clocked at the reference 1750 MHz, which means even the mid-range mobility parts would be featuring 14 GB memory chips. The interesting part is that a Max-Q variant of the GeForce RTX 2060 is also listed with slightly different specs. This time, we are looking at higher core clocks but lower memory clocks. The GeForce RTX 2060 Max-Q maintains a base clock of 975 MHz while the memory is configured to operate at 1500 MHz, which means it will be using 12 Gbps dies. The score for the GeForce RTX 2060 mobility are not explicitly mentioned, but it is revealed that the card would deliver a score of around 19,000 points, which makes it slightly slower than the GeForce GTX 1070 mobility variant. Now coming to the rest of the RTX mobility lineup. First we have the GeForce RTX 2070 Max-Q, which features 2304 CUDA cores and a clock speed of 1300 MHz. The graphics card will come with 8 GB of GDDR6 memory, and considering the other Max-Q card has slightly lower clocked memory, I believe the RTX 2070 Max-Q would also feature the 12 Gbps memory dies. The GeForce RTX 2070 laptop variant, if it exists, would adopt the faster 14 Gbps dies. The graphics card was spotted on a Lenovo notebook with the Intel Core i7-8750H processor, 6-core, 12-thread. Which means that we are looking at high-performance designs. With the GeForce RTX 2080, we are looking at both Max-Q and laptop variants. Both variants come with 2944 CUDA cores and 8 GB of GDDR6 memory. The laptop variant is clocked at 1590 MHz and the Max-Q variant is clocked at 1230 MHz. That's quite a substantial difference in clock speeds when compared with the differences between the RTX 2060 laptop and Max-Q variants. The cards would feature a similar memory design, with the Max-Q running 12 Gbps while the laptop variant will run 14 Gbps dies. It's also noteworthy that the RTX 2080 laptop variant was running on an HP laptop with an 8-core, 16-thread Intel processor. The CPU comes inside the 1440 GB package, so that is definitely an upcoming 9th Gen Core i9 mobility processor with a base clock of 2.10 GHz and a boost clock of 4.40 GHz. Finally, we have the GeForce RTX 2080 Ti laptop variant, which was featured on the Asus Zephyrus MGM 501GS notebook. Asus ROG Zephyrus series are some of the best and slimmest form factor gaming notebooks you can find in the market. The laptop was spotted with a GPU config that includes a GeForce RTX 2080 Ti graphics cards. Presumably the GeForce RTX 2080 Ti laptop The GPU is configured with 4352 CUDA cores and a clock speed of 1540 MHz. The card also features 11 GB of GDDR6 memory, and since there is no Max-Q variant as of now, it will be using the 14 Gbps memory dies. It's interesting that this card is very close in specs to its desktop brethren, but the thing to note is that the desktop variant is a 280 watts behemoth, and Nvidia would have to tune the clock speeds and power limit a lot to make it a sensible option for notebooks. Nvidia GeForce RTX 20 series mobility lineup. Preliminary specs. Now, if Nvidia can somehow find a way to equip high-performance notebooks with an RTX 2080 Ti, that would one great but expensive solution. The GeForce RTX 2060, RTX 2070 and RTX 2080, on the other hand, look like great choices for notebook users who want the best gaming performance at hand. Are you interested in buying a high-end gaming notebook with Nvidia GeForce RTX graphics? Let me know in the comment section. That's it from this video.